So for the session protected by this week, in object, the community members are number one chair will be myself, Associate Professor Fu Hong Yim will be reviewer number one. Associate Professor Zhang Luofeng will be reviewer number two. Dr. Morgan Lam will be the member of the committee. And Dr. Nguyễn Thị Thông will be the secretary of the committee. Thank you very much, and we will start now. You have a 10 minutes for your presentation.
Good morning, committee, and everyone is here. Actually, I took the course of discourse analysis a couple of months ago, and I took an immediate interest in multimodality, which is a pretty novel field. That's the reason why I conducted the multimodality in the Vietnamese TED advertisement series. Alright, this is the outline where I go from the introduction to the literature review, all the way to the methodology, finding discussions, and conclusion. Well, in today's digital age, we cannot deny the significance of analyzing advertising, particularly video advertising. And BTS Hunter's Image of a campaign is an ideal subject for multimodal discourse analysis, because this campaign is available for this analysis. It effectively combines various semiotic modes, for example, the pictures, the visuals, the language, and it is rich in cultural representation of the whole holiday. My study aims to analyze how visual elements and language, specifically on-screen visuals and lyrics, accompanying music videos, contribute to the construction of meaning and cultural identity in Vietnam TED advertisement. In order to solve these research objectives, I've got two research questions, with the former one being a little bit more explanatory, while the second one, exploratory, while the latter being a little bit more exploratory, explanatory. Our two research questions are: what TED-related meanings are constructed through text-based, specifically lyrical and visual elements that BTS a part of the commercial series? And the second one, what are the underlying TED cultural representations conveyed through the multimodal resources in BTS a part of the TED commercial series? In order to get myself prepared for conducting the analysis, these are the key aspects that I reviewed. So I actually went from the discourse analysis, which is a general term, and then I went to the multimodal discourse analysis, which is the extension of discourse analysis that examines how multiple communication modes, such as text, images, and sound interactive create meaning. And the two approaches I used for this one is systemic, functional linguistic, and visual grammar, which I will be talking about later. I also reviewed the Vietnamese TED cultural representation and the related previous studies on multimodality in commercials. To be more specific regarding the theoretical framework, I reviewed systemic functional grammar developed by Halliday in the 1970s. I found this one more suitable for text-based elements, which I used for analyzing the lyrics. This framework involves three meta-functions, or types of meanings, including ideational, interpersonal, and textual. And I also used visual grammar, which I found more appropriate for visual analysis. This one was adapted by President Van Horn in the 1990s to 2000s, and this one is more appropriate for visual elements, and it also includes three parallel types of meanings, including representational, interactive, and compositional. After reviewing the previous studies regarding multimodality in commercials, so this is a gap that I found. Many studies are limited by their emphasis on static visuals. preference for metaphor over meta function, and lack of integration between visual and linguistic or verbal modes, particularly in narrative and time-based media. The meta-functional aspect of systemic functional linguistics are often overlooked, and the representations of Vietnamese text remain underexplored in the dynamic context. As for methodology, I use qualitative method. This one was specifically chosen because of its exploratory nature, because I wanted to explore like the cultural representation of our country in the commercial series. And I used thematic analysis, which is defined as a method for identifying, analyzing, and reporting patterns or themes within the data. And the A part of the series actually was chosen because it's rich in cultural representations, and because this series involves like 8 videos, so I believe this one is rich materials for the visuals and the lyrics as well. Regarding the data analysis procedures, I began with separate analysis of each mode. The lyrics were analyzed using the systemic functional grammar framework to identify the aggregational, interpersonal, and textual meanings, and simultaneously the screenshot images were examined through the present Van Leeuwen's visual grammar, focusing on their representational, interactional, and compositional meanings. And following these independent analysis, the findings were integrated into explore how these visual and verbal modes co-construct the meanings of text. Regarding the finding and discussions, so ideational, interpersonal, and textual meanings are the 3 main parts of my very first part regarding the findings and discussions, where I see how these 3 separate meanings construct like the overall meanings of text. Regarding the second one, as for the visual elements, I find it's going to be much better and easier for me to classify the 3 subparts as the journey, way, and back home, the family, reunion, and tech-related beliefs and cultural practices, and I used the thematic analysis for this one. And regarding the last one, which is the meanings from the integrated elements, I tended to draw like the overall meanings from the text-based and from the visual elements. And the 3 key findings regarding the third one are the imperative of homecoming and reunion, the deep familial connection during the festival, and the tangible cultural and communal practices. In conclusion, so the 3 main themes that I found out, as I presented previously, are imperative of homecoming and reunion, deeply effective representation of familial love and emotional connection, tech cultural practices and traditions. I mean, this one has got like the implications in teaching and learning, regarding for research and for advertising as well. Regarding teaching, well, actually we can use multimodality analysis for better understanding of the cultures and language learning, based on the 2 frameworks that I proposed previously, that I used previously. For research, my research actually proves that multimodality analysis and the 2 established frameworks that I mentioned above has got like universal applicability. That means it can be applied, or they can be applied into other languages, not just English. And for advertising, advertisers, they can actually use or have a look at the research to know which one or the semiotic modes to use in order to better convey the cultural meanings in their advertising efforts. Regarding the limitation and suggestions for future research, the study's limitations are because this one excluded the sound, mostly focused on one ad campaign, and limited to Vietnamese culture, and this one is qualitative. I mean, if I had more time, I would like to do some like to use like the mixed method in order to be more to give you like more statistical evidence. And for the future research, because I excluded intentionally the sound for this one because of the time limit and the complexity of the sound. So for future study, other studies should include like auditory analysis and comparing multiple ad campaigns regarding TIP as well. Thank you for listening. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you for finishing your presentation, and it is my honor to invite Associate Professor Phương Hoa Hiến for your review. Thank you.
So thank you so much for your presentation. I would like to congratulate you on fulfilling a very interesting topic. Right, and the series of this is very interesting too, right? It's new and kind of very attractive to listen to the reader. So I'm going to read my comment first, and then I will read my question. Regarding the significance of the study, I believe that the study has a strong theoretical significance because it supplies a very strong framework of systematic functional linguistics as visual grammar in multimodal discourse analysis. Thereby, it expands academic understanding of how advertisement construct cultural meaning in the Vietnamese context. Practically, it sheds light on how that advertisement reflect and sustain cultural value, offering useful insight for media designer and language educator who may use such advertisement to teaching language and culture. Regarding the methodology and reference and so on, so you have used qualitative methodology using multimodal discourse analysis, combining systematic functional linguistics and visual grammar is an appropriate approach to satisfy the study objective. The data coding process is systematic with clearly defined sources, including lyrics and video frames. The author also demonstrates solid analytical skill and uses relevant and up-to-date reference, which is very strong in terms of research methodology. Regarding the findings review insightful representation of cultural values such as reunion, filial piety, and emotional connection during death, constructed through both language and visual elements. The integration of institutional, interpersonal, and textual meaning in language and representation, interactive and compositional meaning in visual effectively explain how cultural and emotional messages are conveyed. The findings have potential application in media analysis, cultural education, and multimedia content development. Regarding the structure of the project, I believe that the project is quite well structured, logical, and academically presented, comprising of 5 coherent chapters from theoretical overview to conclusion. So if I want to give a suggestion to make it better, maybe you may want to include a short summary at the beginning of each chapter, so that it will signal the reader what they expect. That's one suggestion. Another suggestion would be, I would like you to maybe in your chapter 1 also include some information regarding the significance of your study. It will make kind of your study meaningful and bright evening, right? I have one question for you. So in your opinion, which mode, language or image plays a more dominant role in conveying that value in your project, and why?
Thank you for your question. I mean, when I was doing this, it was pretty hard for me to tell absolutely which one is more dominant than the others. But I believe that they're equally important because, as I mentioned previously, the lyrics or the text-based is more effective at conveying like invisible or emotional or psychological dimensions of it. So, for example, in my research, the linguistic analysis shows that the lyrics articulate like abstract concepts like filial piety, longing, and the internal tension between personal ambition and familiar expectation, while the image or the visual, the chosen frameworks are more effective at conveying visible and tangible cultural practices aspect of it. So I do believe that they both work together to create meanings, and there's no other group that is more dominant than the others. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Associate Professor Fu Hong for your comments and questions. I'd like to invite Associate Professor Trần Hữu Phúc for your comments.
Thank you, Professor Chair. Yes, to continue with question and my comments later on. How can you persuade your reader that the data source of data survey that advertisement series are adaptable to this research on discourse analysis of English linguistics? And the second question, how did you solve the problem of transcribing the cultural symbolism? For example, the traditional ritual, the family reunion, some emotional salient, or the conventionalizing of the non-verbal signals into text to serve your discourse analysis. Are they okay with you? Yeah.
Thank you for your question again regarding the first one. I believe that the two strong reasons that I can persuade the readers is that, first of all, applied English linguistics doesn't exclude any culture or language, and it also has like two very established frameworks for analyzing the materials from different cultures. For example, the lyricals and the visual frames that I used. Plus, the tech advertisement series. I mean, this one has got like a profound influence and success through the years. So I kind of chose this one as the material because of its rich cultural representation in like different parts. And it's a text-based media, which I can actually see the evokes or maybe the inclusion or exclusion of the producers of the cultural practices over the time. So overall for this one, I believe that I actually used two established frameworks for analyzing. So I think this one is appropriate or suitable for English linguistics, and my choice of the data or the materials is obviously subjective, but there is the underlying reason which I told you previously, which is that is rich in culture representations. Do you have any other question for the first one?
Thank you.
Can I?
The reason why I asked the two questions, these are the point for you to make more amendment in the review, and also your revision of the graduation project. On the one hand, it is the code of the program, like English linguistics. So the point is the reliability of your data source, relying on English, native English. The second point is your reader. If it is the English discourse analysis, so the source of data like that can name your reader who are not native English. They can understand, but the native English speaker, without any Vietnamese, maybe the difficulty. But anyway, it is the good process. But I think that we should add more explanation. So in my how you persuade your reader, and it's up to you for your persuasion. Okay? Yeah. Allow me to pass through the good points and go to the straight to the point for revision and correction should be made as follows. In the abstract of the research project, the key points of finding that contribute to knowledge should quickly be presented to provide your reader with the core issue of the project at the first look, other than the general point related to that or the symbolic flora, communal tradition. You should show the key points of your findings in the abstract. The data source, as discussed, is the that advertisement series. So I wonder if it is convincingly adaptable to the code of your master program of English linguistics with the Bible representation of that, including mention of that on báo, email, series of that, etc. So you should persuade your reader. It's up to you to go with the code of master project on English linguistics. Okay? The lyrical content of each video will transcribed and treated as the written text to enable the close linguistic analysis. However, I wonder how the cultural symbolism, for example, the traditional ritual, the family reunion, and the other emotional salient were transcribed. Okay? So if you didn't do this, you can have your justification, or you can put into the way of your conventionalizing how these symbols were transcribed into text for your analysis. This should be done in the chapter of methodology to persuade your reader. In chapter 4 of finding a discussion, the research review how verbal and non-verbal semiotic choices jointly contribute to meaning making under the umbrella of the multimodal discourse analysis approach grounded in SFL and visual grammar. However, the material for discussion are actually in Vietnamese. In the series of BD's APOC, that's commercial series, I would suggest additional paragraph be provided to come with the discipline of your master program of English linguistics, because they are the sources in Vietnamese. Okay? The study focuses on three meta functions as ideational, interpersonal, and factual, and their visual equivalent, and representational, interactive, and compositional, to reveal how that related meanings are embedded and conveyed. Good. The point of concern is still in the analysis of the example in Vietnamese and their English translation. So we have to, like the way to persuade your reader how the Vietnamese equivalent or the Vietnamese translated version, these should be explained to your reader. Okay? And in the same way, the point concerned with the issue related to your reliability of the data source, the validity of your method to code the instances of your analysis should be provided to persuade your reader, especially in the chapter of methodology. The shortcoming in terms of language error or some word use error should be double-checked for your satisfactory completion of the research project. When the amendment has completely been made, the graduation project can be treated as a good piece of research at postgraduate level, and with the option is recommended to be granted with a master's degree in English linguistics. My congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Chan Tru Phúc. And I'd like to invite the other members. If you have any questions or comments,
only comment for you to consider is the findings read come very descriptively, just like you just described and told what you have. The point is to answer is so what? I mean, like you have findings and then so what? What are the countries? How do you interpret it? What's the implications of the benefit from it? Why would people find it useful? Student, teacher, researcher, what would they gain? So what question is something, avoid descriptive writing. Maybe another few paragraphs to explain, instead of saying systemic functional linguistic finding separately and then visual level separately. That's good, but then how do you integrate it together? Because that's the whole project together. Not separate project. So how do you integrate the findings from this together? And then you answer the so what question. Your interpretation of the benefit from it. Well, yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Mokomen, for your comments, and the comments of the members of the committee is really valuable for you to improve your thesis, even though it is a very good job already, but you need to improve further. And I'd like to give you some, apart from several other comments, I'd like to focus on this. In your chapter 4, the analysis seems to focus on listing, and you need to synthesize the data and combine the data in order to make the findings more concise. And I can see some data, some numerical data in chapter 4, part 1, but still I didn't see the discussion and explanation of these values. Alright? So I'd like to see more links between the statistical value with your findings and discussion. Okay? And at the end of each part, I want to see the conclusion of the main findings and discussion for each session, especially in chapter 4. Yes. So, thank you very much for your presentation and protection of your topic. So I'd like to invite you to wait outside for a few minutes while the committee is discussing for decision. Yes. So the committee has reached a decision, and I'd like to invite Ms. Norton to come back. And on behalf of the committee, I am pleased to announce that you have successfully defended your thesis. Congratulations. And I'd like to invite the members of the committee to take a photo with Ms. Norton.